I solemnly swear that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Hi everybody, it's Ron here from The Truth About Addiction. Today we've got a great guest, the guy that interviewed me actually, and now the shoe's on the other foot. It's so nice. David Obeda, welcome my friend.
The tables have turned, haven't they?
Mate,
thank you for having me on, brother. Thanks for inviting us on, mate. Much appreciated, bro. Love all the work that you're doing, man. The Truth About Addiction. Love every moment of it, brother. Enjoying your testimonies as well, man. So it's only the beginning, brother. It's,
yeah, mate.
We all start somewhere. So yeah, I've seen big things for your podcast, brother. So it's awesome.
Yeah, Nate, I'm the same as you. I love the truth. The truth set you free. I always say that, the truth will always set you free, mate. Since I stopped doing crime, since I stopped being shifty, life's so easy, so nice,
Yeah, it is, isn't it, brother? I think that's from the Bible as well, that quote as well. So
exactly,
the truth does set you free,
the
bro.
Truth sets you free, man. There's a lot of stuff that, as you know, when you go to prison, the only book that used to be in prison was the Bible. And I read it as a kid. I don't know what it was, but I remember I used to get out of the prison vet and abuse the coppers and tell them, that fucking thou shalt not judge me. That's crazy. God will smite you down, you motherfuckers. They'd look at me like, this guy's off his head. But anyway, tell us the David Obeda story, please, brother.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, to start off with, brother. So, again, thanks for having me on, brother.
No.
Long story short, brother, I guess to start off with, so I got my own podcast as well called The Felon Show. So go check it out, YouTube and Facebook, where I'm doing what you're doing here, brother. Just sharing testimonies, man, speaking about my own life as well. And just hoping people can resonate with that and take a piece of that with them and sort of I don't know, just maybe help with any sort of trials or tribulations that they might be going through. So yeah, bro, I've done a bit of time, man, just a bit, brother. You know what I mean? I got into the whole crime thing as well, bro. Only petty crime, bro. You know what I mean? Just a petty crook, mate. Well, to start off with, so I'm from New Zealand, so I was deported as well.
Yeah.
Back in 2018, I was deported back to New Zealand. So this is the country of my birth. So yeah, grew up here, man. Brother, by all accounts, man, I came from a good family, bro. Single mother, yeah, man, you know what I mean? Bro, I had a good upbringing, you know what I mean? My mum was into the church and things like that. Weren't rich or anything like that, but grew up in the church, man. Yeah, grew up in the church, sort of went from there, sort of rebelled against the church though, you know what I mean, growing up like that. So wasn't really into the organized religion part of it. I'm still not to this day, you know what I mean? I am a man of God though, saying that, you know what I mean? I read the Bible every day. I'm huge on my faith. He is my savior, the reason that I'm doing this in the first place. But yeah, the organized religion part of it though wasn't really my thing. So growing up, sort of started getting into little bits of trouble, man. You know what I mean? Overreaction by my mum and a lot of it as well. Overreacting to what I was getting into. It wasn't sort of like I was this hard out criminal, but just getting into little bits of trouble, man. And then just so I guess that just sort of led to the streets and started running away from home. Got to the point where I was kicked out of home here in New Zealand, and by that point my mum had already left to Australia, so I didn't really have anywhere else to go. So that ended up like contributing to me moving over to Australia, sort of going over there just to sort of pull my head in, I guess, as a teenager. But unfortunately, that's not what happened. Just went over there, and then just went to the streets again, man. Started living out on the streets there in Melbourne. At the time, though, there was a whole bunch of street kids that were around, so I'm sort of connected with them. Looking back now, there's all sorts of things going on at home, man, for everyone. Sort of looking back at it now. Obviously, people don't just sort of turn to the streets, man. There is usually something going on at home or things like that, man. So, yeah, man, ended up that kid, man, sleeping at the parks and sniffing pain at times, man. We're all at the train station and all under bridges and all at the park, stealing, unfortunately, robbing, stealing cars, just escalating to worse things. But yeah, all sorts of really petty stuff, man, I guess, you know what I mean? Just petty stuff, bro, breaking enters and, smash and grabs and going on to doing armed robberies and things like that, though. I didn't get incarcerated till I was 19, so by the time I went inside, almost all of my friends had been inside by that point, like being in juvenile detention and like YTC youth training in Melbourne and things like that. Malmesbury, you know what I mean, Parkville. yeah. So I've been to Malmesbury, you know what I mean? So I've been through there and things like that. And then on to like the adult justice system in Melbourne. But yeah, man, and then that didn't change anything as prison mostly does. It's hard to rehabilitate when you're put with a unit full of other criminals, you know what I mean? So it's tough, man. So I went in there sort of just wanting to just went in there sort of wanting to make a name for myself, I guess, and things like that. And I had a whole bunch of mates there as well. So got caught up in the gang thing as well. I mean, like we started our own prison gang when we were in there in Melbourne. Yeah, that's still around now. And so
that was the G-Fam, was it? Or
yeah, so that was G-Fam. Yeah, so we ended up forming our own prison gang in there. I always thought I was going to become a bikie or something. Like that was sort of like I guess the logical thing that I was going to end up doing. You know what I mean? Was to become a motorcycle club, or don't get me wrong, associated with a lot though. Associated with a lot of bikies and things like that. If it wasn't for how I got deported and ended up changing my life around and doing this stuff, I most likely would have become a motorcycle member or something along those lines. But I was fortunate enough, man, that when I came back here, 27 years old, saw the light, man, which I consider myself pretty lucky. A lot of boys don't see that light till they're like 57. You know what I mean? So I consider, yeah. So now I can consider that a blessing. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, I do have a lot of mates that are still in prison, man, still involved in that life. I still talk to boys and all of that sort of stuff, but it is hard, man, because I do consider myself a man of God. You know what I mean? So I do. I am against drugs and things like that, man. I'm against all of that stuff. Don't get me wrong, it's tough though in this situation as well, because I don't have much faith in the government or the police either. So for people like us, brother, we sort of just got to walk our path. And I mean, I'm just trying to do what you're doing, brother, with the truth about addiction, and just trying to form a movement pretty much surrounding my podcast. And it's been going well for me though, doing this whole Felon Show podcast. It's really been a blessing, man. It's been able to meet guys like you, man, guys like Brent, you know what I mean, Russell, man, just so many good guys, man, that have been able to help me and check up on me and give us a call. I appreciate all of those sorts of things, even though we're across the ditch. It's been such a blessing, man. I've been able to earn an income off it now, self-employed, and just been able to do this and just focusing on bettering other people, because iron sharpens iron, man. You know what I mean? So just trying to get myself around good heads, good people. Yeah, man. Yeah. So
yeah. See, I'm a big believer that you show me your 5 friends and I'll show you where your future is. If I hang out with 5 shoplifters, guess who's going to put something up their jumper tomorrow? Me,
Yeah, exactly.
If I hang out with 5 people using heroin, I'm going to be shooting heroin.
Yeah, very true, brother. Like for me, like that was hard, bro. You know what I mean? Like coming back here and sort of, well, because when I got deported, I'm like, so when I was in prison, for my last stretch there, before getting deported, I was going through a lot, man, in jail. And there was sort of some personal relationships that I was going through that were, and connected with getting deported and things like that, man. I was going through a lot in my personal life. That sort of hit me pretty hard, man. So like pretty hard, as in, like almost about to, end it all, what I mean, while I was in prison, so I was on that level of thinking, like in the cell, bro, and got the bloody plastic bags tied up in a knot, mate. I mean, got it all ready to go, man. Just working up the courage to just end it, mate. I was on that level of thinking. So by the time I came back, man, I was just like, I just knew I didn't want to go back to prison. Didn't want to go back to prison here. Don't get me wrong, still was heavily into drugs. Came back, was still, into the ice, you know what I mean? Just like, if you want to call it that, self-medicating, just trying to just get those demons out of my head by just doing other things and working, though, and came back and was working, 7 days a week, but just the drug use was still continuing. Was having panic attacks and everything, man. Going through panic attacks, and like, now in hindsight, I can see that's what I was going through. At the time, I didn't know what was going on, though. But in hindsight now, just having full blown panic attacks at work and just drowning my sorrows. Going out with the boys every night, eating, what I mean, going out and just drinking and things like that, eating, trying to fill that hole. And then, so when I came back here, it was hard because I don't know anyone else. So I don't know. All I know are crims, all I know are people that are either just gotten out of jail or are in jail or are on their way to jail, you know what I mean? So I don't know anyone else,
Yeah.
So that's the biggest hurdle, though, isn't it? That's like, now I know heaps of people and heaps of good people, to be around and things like that, just great people. But at that time, I didn't know anyone else, but, and then even then, bro, there is the whole thing of going through, like when I started on this path, the podcast and things like that, it really comes to the realization that at the end of the day, man, you don't really, man, there is no loyalty, you know that very well, brother, you know what I mean? There's no real, you really find out who your friends are when you start doing things that, for yourself, start really doing things for yourself and not about anyone else, just doing things for you, because, man, at the end, because even now, bro, there's like people going about my day ones, you know what I mean? Like my day one homies and things like that, bro. But it's just a trap, man. You know what I mean? That's how you end up getting stuck, and you know what I mean? That's how you end up getting stuck in the cycle, man, is by staying loyal to people that aren't necessarily won't be loyal to you in those same situations, man. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, though. I still got love for a lot of people. Even GFAM. I still got a lot of love for the boys in prisons and things like that. But at the end of the day, man, you've got your own path in life. You've got your own walk, mate. Unfortunately, loyalty nowadays just gets you embarrassed a lot of the time. You know what I mean? Like, really showing your loyalty in today's age, man, it just gets you embarrassed a lot of the time, man. You end up with egg on your face, mate. It's tough, man. But that was something that I had to go through, man. Learning that at the end of the day, with my belief, I've got God. You know what I mean? And he's the one enough. That's always, that's more than enough. He's always going to have my back. He's always going to be there. He's going to pick me up when I fall. And that's and your family, they're gonna be there as well.
They're God given too.
Yeah, they're God given as well.
They're God given.
My mum, and she was the one I was calling every day in prison and sending me money and things like that. So, but then sometimes, most of the time, when you're in that sort of situation, you just take those for granted because they're just always there. I mean, my mum's wrapped with what I'm doing now. You know what I mean?
Oh man, Mum's she sleeps at night.
Yeah, mum's wrapped, mate, for what I'm doing now, and
she's not going to get a phone call from the prison saying, "Oh, David got stabbed to death."
Yeah, that's right.
David killed somebody. Yeah, David killed himself. Like, come on, man. Because all them things are possible and probable on a daily basis in prison.
Yeah. Especially if you're getting involved in the politics. Yeah, especially if you're getting involved in the politics and all of that, mate. It's a knife edge, really.
Yeah. People have got no understanding of prison. People go like,
Yeah.
oh, they've got a TV, oh, they've got this, they've got that. Mate, they've got nothing.
Yeah.
They've got
Yeah.
nothing. I've seen people get killed over an orange.
Mm.
I seen a guy take an orange off a tray. Another guy king hit him. He hit his head and he died for an orange. You know, like, man, that's what your life's worth, an orange. And then the other guy that hit him was in doing a 12-month sentence, now got a life lagging. That was a fucking expensive orange.
Yeah, expensive.
People don't see that part.
Yeah, because that's the thing with prison as well, man. Because at the end of the day, when you look at it, like even the stuff I was getting involved in there and with politics and with my mates in there, you know, like I've got a lot of mates who should have been out by now. They should have been out years ago, but they're still in there with a while to go now. Like I've seen dudes go in on, you know what I mean, juvie sentences, mate, just like 12 months.
Get life
now
laggers.
they're doing like 15 years, mate. He's still sitting in there, you know what I mean?
Man.
And it's like, when I was in there, though, it's like, whoa, like respect, you know what I mean? Like,
normal,
man, respect to this guy, you know, like he stands on his morals, and he's it's just now, though, it's just like, even though there is that respect still there, it's tough, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, man, they could have been out by now.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just such a small, you know, because the thing is, you know, in prison, small things are big things. Like
take my washing out of the washing machine, I'm going to jump on your head.
Yeah, they become huge, and then whereas out here, people are just like, what? Like over that? Why would you do that for something small like that? Which is true though. I mean, like, why would you do that? But when you are in that situation, it's massive.
In that world.
You know? Yeah, so there's so many things that I look back on now in my experiences in prison. It's just, man, even like with the whole, you know, being a dog and things like that, man, I know guys that's still in like 20-year wax now for keeping their mouth shut.
Yep.
You know, and it's just like, even when I look at things like that, like, don't get me wrong, you know, I mean, if you are in that life, you should keep your mouth shut, because that's what you're signing up for, really. But there's so many people that don't, though, that are in that life, that, because it depends on the person, you know what I mean? Like, you get out here and, you know, there's people that have informed on people that are still, mate, I've seen people that have informed on people that are wearing patches now, still, I mean, because no one, if the guy's making money, it doesn't matter, you know what I mean?
Drugs,
like,
or he's got money?
Yeah, if he's got drugs or got money, it's just, mate, no one's gonna mess that up. So then there's so many people I look back in jail, and it's just like, man, like, they could have been out by now. Fair enough, they would have got put on the dog and everything, which again in that world is huge though.
Yep.
But then what, you would have gotten out, and then people will call you a dog for a bit, but then people will just forget. You know what I mean? Like, people just forget, mate. And the only one that's really is the one that's sitting in jail. Yeah, it's a complex world, isn't it?
It's a horrible world.
And it's a horrible world, man. Full of lies, mate. Full of lies. And a code that doesn't even exist, mate. You know what I mean? Like, that's why you got the same guys always in prison.
I got news for you.
It's never existed. Always the same people in prison, mate. Because when you're in there, it's always the same guys.
Revolving door. Yeah,
so
last time I did my sentence, I'd see some guys do, in the 8 years I did last time, I'd see some guys come in 6-7 times. And I just think, I just see it one go. I just want one turn, you know, just give me one turn, you know, fuck. Yeah. I was laughing about loyalty. Last time I was loyal, I got 18 years.
Yeah. That's right. It just
and the guy that I was loyal to fucking done a deal with the coppers and got me fucked up, you know? That was last time I was loyal. I was like, oh, man, you know, what's that loyal shit? You know, they can't even spell it, you know? But it's nothing new, David. You know, I've been around a long time. I've been getting, you know, fucked over by crims since the 70s, you know? And I'm talking about famous gangsters that were supposed to be like bad motherfuckers, you know, they'd kill you. Yeah, mate, anybody can kill you. You know, a peanut can kill you if you're allergic to them. You know, let's be honest. You know, a peanut can kill you. You know, but killing somebody's not a big deal. Big deal is putting bread on the table and feeding your family. That's the big deal. Having your wife and children fucking respect you and love you. Having your mum not scared at night. That's the big deal. That's the big deal. That's the OG. That's, to me, that's the gangster shit, man. You know, what you're doing today is gangster to me. You know, you're trying to tell the truth. You're trying to help people, you know. I was, I was thinking about, you know, your higher power had a fucking plan for you, the same as my higher power had a plan for me.
Yeah, no, 100%. Well, I mean, it's still the same higher power. You know
Yeah,
what I
that's
mean?
what
It's all the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's why. Yeah, when I look back on my life, like from my time in prison and things like that, like I now see it was all just it was all part of the plan, man. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It was all part of the plan. You know, there were times in jail when I did ask for strength, you know what I mean? But the thing is, when you ask God for strength, he gives you trials and tribulations. That's
Yeah.
what he does. He sends difficulties your way to give you strength. You know what I mean? That will, when you go through those things, it'll give you a strength that'll last a lifetime. You know, so you know, you look back on the difficulties and you're grateful for them, even though at the time, you know, it is hell and things like that, especially with what you've gone through, brother. So it's all part of the greater plan. You know what I mean? The design. You know, so yeah, no, big believer in that, brother.
Yeah, I believe in that, mate. We all got our own crosses to bear.
Yeah,
you know
that's
like,
right, man. Yeah,
a friend of mine did a painting for me once, and it was a guy carrying a cross, sort of like abstracty. And he said, "Why do you crucify me when we all have our own crosses to bear?" And I really like it. You know, I mean, I've kept that painting. You know, it's with my ex-wife in America at the moment. It's such a good painting. You know, it's like,
yeah, no, most definitely, man. We all have our crosses to bear, man.
We all have our own crosses to bear.
Life's hard, man. You know, I know plenty of people that have been through hell that haven't been to prison. You know what I mean? They haven't been anywhere near those sort of places, but have gone through awful things, man. Life's tough in general, man. But it's just finding that space where you can stay sober and stay you know, because I'm an addict myself, man. You know, I was an addict myself. I still am. You know what I mean, brother? Like, still consider myself an addict, man. That's why I'm always careful about who I'm around and who I associate with and things like that, man. Because you know, just don't want to be in that position where, you know, everything's all good. You know, like I've seen so many good people in that are just doing real well in life, and then something will happen, usually with, you know, relationships or something like that, man. Something will happen and then boom, they just fall right off, you know. And it's just, but that's a reminder for me, and just be careful, because you can, you know, it doesn't, you know, it's just one slip, man, and you're back into that, you know what I mean? So always got to be aware, you know what I mean, and just always take a step by step.
That's the first one that does the damage. As soon as you take one, it starts a compulsion, and then, like I say to people, if you get hit by a train, what kills you, the first carriage or the last one? The fucking first one.
Exactly.
The first one.
I'll keep that one in my pocket. That's a good
you hit by a train, what killed you, the first carriage or the last carriage, motherfucker? You know, you know, it's the first carriage that got you, motherfucker. You know,
no, that's
I'm the
right.
same, mate. You know, I've been trying to help a guy detox for the last 3 days off heroin. He's not a, you know, he's a good guy. He rang me at 6:30 this morning. I'm sorry, Ron, I can't do it. I said, man, just give it another 12 hours. You're nearly finished. I can't do it. I can't. And I was just listening to the desperation, and he's been vomiting. You know, I've been talking to him all for the last 60 hours. He's been vomiting that green bile and just going through the whole heroin withdrawals. And he was probably one more day, and he would have been finished his withdrawal. And he threw it all in this morning at 6:30 this morning, and went away. And I rang up his brother an hour later. I said, "What's going on?" He goes, "He's gone. He's using. He went and scored." And now the poor bastard would have had a shot. Then he would have been hating himself for having the shot.
Yeah.
You know, so he's got that cycle, and it's like, oh man, I'm so blessed. What a blessed day are that I don't have to fucking do that today.
Yeah, me too. When you are free from addiction in a way that you are still an addict, but not using, you know what I mean? It is a blessing, to look on it. But one thing I always found, when coming off the stuff, is just like, I've never been on heroin, so I wouldn't know. Well, I've been on bupe in jail, and like
same, it's different.
Same sort of, you know, I smoked heroin in jail as well, things like that. But you know, even out here, man, you just sort of really gotta, at the same time, sort of not be too hard on yourself. It's because you do go through that guilt and that shame, and that is part of it. You know, it's just sort of. Like for me, I never looked at it as, oh man, I've failed here.
Yeah.
I just never thought of that. I just tried not to think that, you know what I mean? Like, oh man, I've failed. You know, look at it like, well, look, I've been a drug addict, you know, most of my life.
Yep.
take it easy on myself, and then just start again. You know what I mean?
Cool.
But which is so hard to do, especially in today's age, because you do look at it that once you use it, it's like you're failed, you know, and then people lose hope. You know, like, well, then once they're failed, then they're just like, oh well.
Yeah. The big word is hope.
Yeah, the big word in that is hope. Yeah,
they lose hope.
Yeah, never lose hope.
You know,
I mean, yeah, man. Hope. I mean, like what you're doing, that's you know, that is a blessing, man, to be able to do that for people. I get a lot of people that reach out to me as well, bro.
Yeah.
Man, I get mums reaching out to me and all, bro. You know what I mean? That they've got their son in jail and he's going through these sorts of things and that sorts of things, and you know, my son's getting beat up in there, and even things like that, man. You know, and it's just like a reality check for me, because it's like, man, I've like been that guy who was beating up people like your son. You know what I mean? Like not saying that to them, but in my head, you know what I mean? Just thinking like, man, like that's just so crazy. Man, I get like former officers reaching out and things like that, man. So it's just gives me a crazy new perspective, you know what I mean? But humbled as well. Very humbling to be able to do these sorts of things, and very humbling, bro. Very humbling.
Yeah. This guy's brother was like really angry, and he's like, he's a weak cunt. And I said, no, he's not, mate. He's sick.
Yeah, that's right, bro.
I said, he's not weak. He said, he's sick. I said, the disease is more powerful than him at the moment. I said, until he finds some hope and some faith that he can do it. He said, he's not going to get clean. I said, so next time he wants to get clean, take him to a detox, put it into the hands of professionals, and if he gets clean, then introduce him to me and I'll help him. He's not weak. He's just sick, man. You know, it's a sickness.
Well, that's right, bro. It is a sickness, you know. It's a disease, man. Disease.
Disease,
you know
100%.
Yeah, for sure, brother.
Yeah. As we said before, you know, I had a spiritual awakening a long time ago, and that's what, you know, got me clean and kept me clean. The dream I told you about.
Yeah, I got a lot of messages about that dream, bro, on your podcast. Yeah, so that touched so many people. Was that dream, brother?
Yeah, mate, it still gives me goosebumps 36 years later. It still gives me goosebumps, and it still blows my mind, you know. And I don't tell her a lot because I don't want it to lose its magic.
Yeah, true.
I don't want it to lose its magic because I like the way it makes me feel. It makes me feel like, wow, okay, I've got a purpose. We've got to have a purpose. We've all got to have a purpose. If you don't have a purpose, you're lost. You don't have a destination. You don't know where you're going.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the journey. It's not the destination. It's the journey. You know, that's why, you know, I really wanted to put you on and talk to you about it, because I really love your journey. I love what you've done. And you've done a lot of this on your own, David. So you've had some pretty good, you know, divine intervention and guidance.
Bro.
You know,
100%. I mean, like when I started out on this podcast thing, brother, I didn't know no social media influencers, mate. You know what I mean? No sponsors, nothing like that, brother. I didn't know any people that could sort of share my stuff and or anything like that, man. Like most people would have given up. Like when I started off, man, it was just, bro, you know, like I just knew heaps of people just didn't believe in me and just sort of like, what are you doing, man? Like no one's gonna watch that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I knew, man, you know what I mean? I knew, because at the end of the day, man, a big thing as well, never, ever let the world talk you out of your vision. I mean, if you've been given a vision to do something, don't let people who haven't seen that vision and can't see that vision because it's in here.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You can't give words to a vision, a true vision. You know, there's no putting that into words. So don't let people that have never... that don't know anything about it, haven't seen it because only you've seen it, talk you out of what you're doing. You know what I mean? Don't let them do that, because I mean there's so many other people as well, man, that I see that that do have potential on like YouTube and things like that, bro. Because it's like YouTube's a viable, like you can start a business from starting things on YouTube and things like that, man. Like it's huge. You know, it's a huge tool. It's a tool, man, that can be used. And there's so many other people I know that could be doing things on here. People come to me with ideas like, oh, I want to do this. I sort of want a podcast about this sort of stuff. And I'm just like, man, that's a really good idea. Like, do it. You know, I know some other people that have started a channel, but then they end up giving up. And I'm looking through their content. I'm like, man, this is good. Like, don't judge yourself on the views. You know what I mean? Because that just comes with consistency. You just stay consistent, and that will happen. But again, but so many people just don't have that belief in themselves, or aren't willing to put themselves out there, or they just can't pull the trigger, and they're just, wait till it's perfect. Well, God, wait till it's perfect. And once they start saying like that, I'm like, oh, bro, you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to happen, man. You just got to pull the trigger, mate. Take the leap of faith.
Yeah, the one
Fortune.
I've got to ask my wife.
Well, she's the producer now, isn't she? She's the producer of the show. So it's basically her show anyway.
As soon as someone says to me, I got to ask my wife, man. So.
But like at the end of the day, man, fortune favors the bold, mate.
Yeah.
And if you step out there and do it, man, forces will come to help you. You know what I mean?
90% of the time, it's your friends that tell you that it can't work.
Oh, bro, 100.
They don't want you to be successful. It sounds horrible.
No,
it's true.
No, like that's what I mean, bro. When I started off on this, you know what I mean, bro. Like no one believes you, mate. No one shares your stuff, mate.
They're not happy for you to be successful.
Yeah, no. I mean, even when I started, man.
True.
When I started, man, like none of my mates were sharing my stuff and things like that. So that's another harsh reality, though. And it's like, bro, your best supporters are the people that don't know you. Like when you start going into all of this sort of stuff, the people that you don't know, the people that are in other countries that you never even shook their hand or anything like that, they're going to be your biggest supporters. You know what I mean? They're going to be the ones. I mean, especially getting into something like this as well, man. Initially, like even your family can be like, like end up turning on you. That happens a lot, mate. It happened with me. You know what I mean as well.
Yeah.
But your biggest supporters will always be the people that you've never met, man. You know what I mean?
I love
like
that. It's true.
Yeah, they're going to be the ones that have your back 100%. So yeah.
I'll tell you what's happened since I spoke to you last. I've got my book out.
Oh, real?
Yeah, man. I got my book out and
oh, brother,
yeah.
I want that first edition, brother. I want that first edition.
I'm going through it now. I'm editing it now and getting it rewritten. And I've got to write. That's only written up to 2002 to the day I got arrested, or when I got arrested. It finishes with the federal coppers driving me back from New South Wales to Queensland, and I wouldn't talk to them. And they give me the normal stuff. There's an easy way and a hard way to do this, and I'm like, mate, shut up, just take me back to jail, And they got me, the double handcuffs, the belt, and the shackles, and 3 cars. I'm 50 years of age. Come on, I couldn't run out of sight in the dark. Like, what am I going to do? And they got the front car and the back car, and I'm in the middle car, and the Alpha Bravo move up. Coming up to just being stupid. And I said to him, I got a little bit cranky. I said, where the fuck did you get in from? Like the guy in front that was in control of it all, the boss. I said, he watches too many Joe Gadget fucking shows, Maxwell Smart, just being a real stupid, over the top idiot. Then I put my head down. I didn't speak to him for about, I don't know, it was about a 3-hour trip. I didn't speak to him about 2 hours. And I said to him, I just said, oh, did you hear about the drug smuggler? And they all stopped and thought, I'm going to tell him something. And the cop in the back, what? I said, the drug smuggler. He said, what? I said, he was in Bali on holidays. I said, and he wanted to sneak a carpet snake back into Australia. I said, so he said to his wife, I'm going to put a snake down my pants, wrapped around my waist. He said, and if they pat me down, they touch it, just so I'm really well hung. And she said, oh, okay. The next morning she came in and she said, there's a really nice skunk out here I'd like to smuggle back to Australia too. And she said, oh, he said, well, stick it down your pants. She said, but what about the smell? He said, well, if it dies, it dies. And they never smiled. They never even laughed. Then I laid back down.
I'm going to remember that one.
They never even said a word to me. Just looked at each other like, this guy's not well. He's not well. Yeah. And I wasn't. But anyway, we don't want to get well. We don't want to get well. We want to help other people get better. As long as I'm a better version of myself tomorrow, I've done a good job today.
But no, to your book, brother. Yeah, no, looking forward to that, bro. Looking real forward to that. It's definitely the time to strike, man. I've even got a couple from jail. You know what I mean? I was writing a couple of books on there, not autobiographies, but just novels.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
That I wrote in while I was in there. Still got them here, man.
Go through them, man.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. Definitely looking at maybe dropping a book or something like that in the future, man. I mean, the world's your oyster, mate. You know what I mean? You can do whatever you want to do, eh, brother? So, yeah, looking through some books and things like that. Again, just novels, you know what I mean? Even like romance novels and things like that, man. So, yeah, it's exciting, yeah.
There's no failures.
But excited for you, though.
There's no failures. There's only lessons.
Right, bro.
There's only lessons, David. You know
Never
that.
in you. Yeah.
You know, I've written a note in. I said, we have to make our time valuable. We need to carry a message to people. The truth will always set them free. I wrote that down just in the notes that I was going to talk to you about. And I think that's what you've done for a lot of people. You've made their time valuable. I know you made my time valuable. And I'd never done a podcast till I did it with you. And I wouldn't have done one. Let's be quite honest. I wouldn't have done one. I wouldn't have done a podcast, you know, because I'm not a big fan of people. I don't like people that much. That sounds terrible. But it's true.
Me neither, bro.
I'm not a big fan of people. You know what I mean? I'm very selective. It was like my drugs. You know, I cared about the quality, not the quantity. You know? I'd rather have a gram of pure than a kilo of shit. You know? It's the same with my friendships. It's the same.
Yeah, no, I'm the same too, brother. Yeah, No, I know what you mean, my bro.
I'm really big on having like-minded people around me. I don't want to talk about other people because that's what small people do.
Yeah,
I don't want to talk about, I want to talk about ideas and dreams and plans. I want to talk about, leaving a legacy so that when you Google my name, it doesn't come up Ron Ishwood, 18 years drug dealer. I don't want to have that come up. I want to have fucking good stuff come up.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah. No, my kids say to me, Dad, why do you work so hard? I said, because I like doing it. I like doing what I do. I don't believe it's work.
Yeah, well, it's not work, eh? Yeah.
My wife shakes her head and she goes, I've never seen anyone, because I'm nearly 68. My wife goes, I've never seen anyone work so hard. You just don't stop. 6:30 this morning, the phone ring. I don't go, oh, fuck. I go, hello, mate, what do you want? Are you okay? If they ring at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, you are okay, mate? What's happening? How can I help you? And I believe it's the word I'm trying to think of. It's a responsibility that we take on when we decide to do what we do. If you make a choice to put yourself out there to help people, it can't be on your terms. It has to be on God's terms.
Yeah, brother.
God doesn't have a watch. If someone's in need of 3 o'clock in the morning of help and advice because they're self-harming or they're going to go and use a drug, ring me up. And they say, serious? I say, yeah, ring me up. They're going to wake me up. So what? I'll go back to sleep. And if I don't, so what? Now, if we can help one person with what we're doing, David, we're successful.
Just that one soul, mate.
It's that one person,
just bringing that one person back. And like you said, when you do put yourself out there like this and just to do sort of something like in the space, it is a responsibility.
Yeah.
There is, even with the people that reach out to me, man, always getting to them and trying to share the bits of knowledge that I can and trying to really help them and things like that and what I can do, you know what I mean? But, just being able to share stories and for people to listen, it seems to speak to a lot of people. So it's just such a blessing, and to share stories like yours and stories that need to be heard, man, so that people actually understand. Because there's just so much condemnation, bro, and from the wider society of, like, even now, man, like everywhere, brother, in the sky, the crime rate, you know what I mean, it just keeps going up. And you look on the news, man, and it's like, oh, there's not enough security, not enough cameras, not enough police, not enough whatever. And it's just like there's no look at like the price of living. There's no look at even abuse in state care, mate. That's all a part of it.
The lack of education, the lack of care, the lack of training, the lack of
no look at that sort of stuff because they don't want people to be sympathetic, man. Like harsher penalties, you know what I mean? We need harsher penalties and this and that.
It doesn't work. They know it doesn't work. As you know, we're trying to do something with the prisons now, and there was 5 things that the prison was supposed to do, and the guy that was doing the seminar with me said, fail, 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 fail. The 5 things that a prison's supposed to do, like rehabilitation, stop the recidivist rates, whatever they were, the 5 things, it was all fail. So corrective services had failed in their whole duty of care with prisoners. And all they have is a revolving door. They have no education, they have no training, and I'm talking about the staff, because it's got to come from the top. I've owned companies all my life. If the guy that's working in my company does a shit job, it's because I'm a shit owner. It's not because he did the shit job, because I employed him, so I'm responsible. Where the government doesn't take responsibility for the shit job. If something goes wrong in my companies, I'm always the one that goes, okay, we made a mistake, let's fix it. And that's why I've been successful in businesses, because I still apply the same principles as what I did when I was on the street. I was always really principled. If I said I was going to do something, I did. If I said I wasn't going to do something, I didn't do it. And I wouldn't, not when I was in active addiction. When I was in active addiction, all I cared about was myself. But once I got clean, I've been clean. I've been around recovery now for 41 years. So I've had more recovery than I've had using. I've had more recovery than I've had. More than half of my life's been in recovery. So the last 36 years I've been completely drug free. So the last 36 years I've had a lot of businesses and a lot of companies that have been really successful, and it makes me laugh because, as we were talking about before, my friends go, the friends that never do anything, oh fuck, you're lucky. And I go, yeah, the harder I work, the luckier I get.
Yeah, that's right. We make our own luck, isn't it?
I work 7 days a week, probably 16 hours a day, every day of the week.
Yeah.
Because when I'm not working, I'm still working.
Yeah.
I'm writing shit on whiteboards. I'm thinking about stuff. I'm trying to do a new project. I got lots of shit happening. And people go, oh, you should be retired. I can't retire. I've got too much to do. Not financially. I can retire now, but I can't retire because my job's not done. My higher power's not ready yet. He's not ready for me. If I was ready, I'd be gone. That's how I believe. That's my faith. If my job was done, I'd be gone. Simple. A lot of people die a lot younger than 67.
Oh, yeah.
What I mean? Not many people get to my age, especially in the world I came from. So that's what my spiritual awakening was, that my higher power had something better in line for me. And all I had to do is get out of the way and let him work the magic.
Yeah, that's right, brother.
Yeah, for me to become a vessel.
To
carry the message.
Big believer in that. Yeah, brother.
Carry the message, man.
That's how I believe.
And to meet with people like yourself. Because we're soldiers on the same team.
Yeah, that's right, brother. Yeah.
And 100%. I can't change the world, but I can change myself. And by changing myself, maybe that'll help somebody else change themselves.
Yeah.
And then that person might help somebody else change themselves. And we start a domino effect where we can start to create a better world for our children's children. Yeah. It's too late for me. I mean? My world's pretty good. I'm happy with what I've got. But my children's children have got some really sad shit in front of me. What I've seen in 50 years, I don't think we've gone better. Kids used to be able to play in the street until the lights came on, then come home. I won't let my kids out on the street now on their own. What's that about?
Yeah, it is unfortunate, isn't it? And it's just such a broken system as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's such a I mean, I know so many youth workers that end up leaving or end up depressed because they're in such a broken system, man. So even when you look at the whole correction system and things like that, it is money driven. It is obviously an industry, huge money making industry. That comes before anything else, even rehabilitation. And then, the whole public perception through the media gets inverted of what we actually need, which isn't more prisons, obviously, but that's what public perception is. I know in Sydney they're building heaps out there, heaps of new maximum securities, and even Melbourne they're building them, and so it is a broken system, man. But again, it's all about, like you said, starting that domino effect there. And just I always look at it, you know what I mean? Because in the mornings, I go down to the wharf and you always see boats, you know what I mean, going past, and just a little boat, mate, in the darkness, just cruising through. But those little ripples, you know what I mean? Once they get to the shore where I am, they're waves.
Yep.
And that's all it takes, man. Just one bloke walking by himself, man, through that thing, and it ripples out, man. And then, like the butterfly effect, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A butterfly waves its wings on one side of the world, on the other side of the world, it ends up becoming possibly a hurricane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what it's all about, man. We can't see the bigger picture of what we're doing. We don't know about that kid that possibly didn't jump off that bridge on the other side of the world because of events that we put into action. We can't see that, you know what I mean? So we don't
100%.
realize, but there's always a chain reaction, and it's always about being aware of that, just making sure it's that your reactions are going to create good chain reactions and positive ones, you know?
Yeah, good karma.
Mm.
I believe that. I believe, a friend of mine said to me today, he said, your karmic balance is so perfect. He said, that's why you have such a good life. He said, sure, you've done some shit in your day. He said, but God, you've done some good stuff. This guy's been drug-free now for 14 years, and I met him in prison and I introduced him into recovery. He's 14 years clean now.
Oh, wow.
And he's got a little kid. He's never had his first child. He's 40-something.
Wow.
He's a brainiac. He's one of these guys that were really smart.
Yeah.
And I met him on his first sentence. He was on the ice. He was a multi-millionaire. And we're doing weights, and I've seen the tracks on his arms. I said, oh, man, junkie. Fucking no, I'm not. I said, really? He said, no, not a fucking junkie. I said, what's the marks on your arms? He goes, just used to shoot up speed sometimes. I said, sometimes? I'm a fucking big black scar. I said, mate, sometimes. And he got all indignant about it, And I said, all right, sweet. Then I started talking. I said, what are you in for, mate? Just saw some speed freaks broke into my car and in my house and stole some stuff. And so I went to the shop where they worked and I bashed them up and put them in the boot of my Mercedes. Then I realised I'd bashed them so bad I panicked and I went to the police station with them in the boot. He's charged with assault with grievous bodily harm, deprivation of liberty, kidnapping. He gets 8 with a 4.
Crazy.
Yeah, never been in trouble in his life. So he goes to the police station with these dudes in the Mercedes. And he's 14 years clean. Yeah, now he's 14 years clean. He's a stockbroker. And he said to me, I made $500,000 the other day in a webinar.
Wow.
And I said, Jesus, fucking bet you missed the speed life. He started laughing. He was the one that said to me, your karma's so good, that's why you have the life you have, And when he said it was nice. He said, I wouldn't be clean if it wasn't for you, brother. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah.
It's all about your fruits, what I mean, all about bearing good fruits, you know what I mean? And when it comes back to you in life, that's when you know that I'm on the right track here. Even just with me, man, just with the podcast and that, being able to like I've had, you know what I mean, like boys get out of jail and that, and like full bikies in there though, man, patch members, sergeant, prayers, they get out and reach out to me, man, like I've had on the show, you know what I mean? They're like, oh man, seeing what you're doing now, man, like that's awesome, bro. And then like I'm sort of getting the inkling like, oh, maybe he wants to jump on the show. I'm sort of like, oh, aren't you in the scene anymore? Like, aren't you riding Harleys anymore? They're like, nah, I sort of gave all that up. And it's just like, it's a shock, man, because a lot of them boys, I'm like, oh, true, like I didn't expect that. And then then they're like, they're wanting to jump on the show and to let people know, like, yeah, look, I'm not affiliated with that sort of stuff. I don't want to be, and you know what I mean.
Life.
So so it's such a honor to be able to do that for brothers that have just gotten out of prison, and I'm just like, man, I want to share my story, and I'm just like, yeah, man, of course, you know what I mean, like, and it just helps them. It helps people share their stories in their own rehabilitation, and where people will listen and people will be sympathetic, man, and be like, man, good on you. You're like, so again, it's just a huge, huge honor, man, to be able to work in this sort of a space and of, rehabilitation, helping people and, just raising public awareness, I guess, around all of this stuff and giving them insight. So yeah, it's just been a blessing, man.
No, Dave, look, what you're doing is very courageous, mate. And you are a trailblazer. Because we are out of our comfort zone. We're in a media where we know nothing about it. We've come from the streets. We're talking about ourselves in public, which you don't do. We're inviting people in to judge us, which they do. And the bottom line is, mate, what they think about me has got nothing to do with me. What I think about me is what's important.
Mm.
You know, and what I think about my friends and the people that I choose to associate with is the only thing that matters today. You know, if I've got nothing positive to say, I don't want to think about you. You know, I don't hold resentment or grudges and that. I don't want to know about that stuff. All I want to do is bring joy and peace to myself, and to do that by bringing joy and peace to others. You know,
Yeah.
David, it's been a real pleasure, mate. It really has. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, mate. It's just so easy.
Yeah, I
is.
know, brother.
It's-
Let me know when you're coming over, brother.
Yeah,
We'll go
I will,
hunting
mate.
or something.
Yeah, we'll go hunting, mate. We'll go looking for some stuff, and we'll have some fun. But you know, mate, I really, really appreciate your time, David. I really do, mate. Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, nah, thank you for all that you've done as well, brother. You know what I mean? Thanks for the good convos and then things like that, brother. Thank you for jumping on my show as well. That was awesome, brother, to be able to share your story and things like that. So check it out. If you haven't seen Ron's interview, come check it out on the Felon Show. It's an awesome testimony of strength and of
The show I lost my
recovery.
virginity in.
Yeah. So I popped Ron's cherry here, mate. You know what I mean?
Oh, brother, love you, mate.
Yeah, love you too, brother. And yeah, we'll talk soon anyway.
I solemnly swear that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.